So moving on, we're going to be stepping away from injection kind of attacks like cross-site scripting and SQL, more on the authorization and authentication side of things. So in order to do that, there's a specific challenge I want to keep in mind, and that is accessing another viewer's shopping cart. So ideally, you don't want your shoppers to be able to look at each other's carts because you don't know who's going to be buying what. Same thing goes for making purchases. You don't want to make purchases on behalf of another user. That could get things a little bit hairy if you were a shop owner. So in this case, let's get started by signing up for an account. I did sign up for an account earlier, but let's go ahead and just get one anyway. So we're just going to be using test information, test1. I don't really care what the password is because no one's going to be really logging into this. And we'll register. Needs to be unique. So we'll just do test1. Alright, so if we log in and we view our basket, we don't see anything. But what we'd like to understand is what's happening when we actually view our basket. So let's go ahead and reload the page with our development tools open, and we take a look at a couple of the requests that are being sent through. So we have REST user, who am I, and we also have REST basket 6, which is relatively interesting because if we kind of filter down our traffic to look for any kind of basket fetching API calls that are being made, you'll see that there is a 6 here, which is kind of strange. The endpoint itself is the juice shop / REST for REST API, so this is some kind of interface that is being hosted, as well as basket, and then 6. I'm curious to know where 6 comes from though. So if we look at the who am I calls that were also being sent, we have an ID number 22. So we are ID number 22, which is good because that makes sense. But if we look at the basket, again, we have an ID, it seems to be a basket ID of 6. So even though we're user ID number 22 or 21, whatever it was, we have a basket that's 6. Yes, user ID 22. What we can do though is let's actually take this URL. We're going to copy it, and let's actually open this just in a separate tab. Oh, no authorization header was found. That's not good. That's unfortunate. But either way, I think that's okay. We can make this work. So let's try to get from here. REST basket 6. There we go. So we didn't get a response back, and that's kind of to be expected just because the basket doesn't have anything in it. Our own basket, that is. So let's add a few items to it just to get it going. We should have a basket full of items, and we do. And now let's go back and just re-replicate this request. So REST basket 6. No authorization header was found. I'm not sure why that doesn't work correctly because we are authorized as a user. But let's try again. Yeah, that's a bit weird. Even though we are authorized. Let's take this a step further. One thing we can do is, since we're on Windows, we can actually copy this as a Powershell request, and that'll include our headers with it. So if we just open up PowerShell, this is just kind of like a Windows command line utility that can be used for all sorts of different things as far as scripting goes. And just copy that in there. Cool. And if we zoom in a little bit more, we can actually see that the status is okay, and we get some products back. And the request had all the information that we would want in it. Now, in order to take things further, let's think about how different ways we can interact with other baskets potentially. So in the URL, for example, we had REST basket 6, which means during this session of the website, for one reason or another, the website is reaching out for a very specific basket ID. So at some point, we were assigned basket number 6. So the assumption here is that if we were to use basket number 6, we should only be able to see basket number 6 and not other baskets. Let's actually go ahead and we'll take our request and we're going to modify it a little bit. So instead of basket number 6, let's actually go to the URL and we're actually going to modify it. So instead of basket number 6, let's just go to number 2. And this time you'll see we did get some different information back. The basket seems to be empty or doesn't really contain some raspberry juice and some other things too. But you'll see we did solve the challenge, which is great, as we were able to view another shopper's basket. So if we go back to our request again, let's change this to something else. It's a little finicky to skip around, but let's go with number 0. And again, not too much, but either way, that's okay because we were able to take this request. We were able to tamper with it and access other baskets that are outside of our user scope. So to recap what we did here, we added a couple of items to our basket. We used the Chrome developer tools to identify traffic that was being generated when we view our basket, in which case that led us to specific API calls that identified basket number 6. We were able to right-click, copy that request. In this case, we were just using PowerShell, but you can use a bunch of different ways to take that request, modify it, and send it to not just receive basket number 6, but also different baskets, baskets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, assuming there are previous ones before it, and maybe ones that are coming after it, and disclose what other people are potentially buying from their baskets.